Hello and welcome. You're watching another episode of NewsX Deepdive. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. In a significant move that further tightens India's immigration and foreigner tracking framework, the centre has notified amendments to the Immigration and Foreigners Rule 2025. The changes may appear procedural at first glance, but they are part of a broader effort by the government to strengthen monitoring of foreign nationals staying in India for extended periods, improve compliance and enhance national security oversight. The notification issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs primarily focuses on registration requirements for foreigners staying in India beyond 180 days and changes the timelines under which they must report to authorities. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at what has changed, why the government says these changes are necessary, and what the implications could be for foreign visitors, students, professionals, businesses, and India's overall immigration architecture. The most important amendment relates to foreign nationals intending to stay in India for more than 180 days. Under the revised rules, such foreigners must now complete their registration before the expiry of the 180-day period from the date of arrival if they intend to continue their stay. Previously, the registration process was often interpreted as being completed after the 180-day threshold was crossed. With a grace framework available in many cases, the new rules make early compliance the norm rather than post-deadline compliance. In simple terms, if a foreign national plans to remain in India beyond 6 months, they can no longer wait until the last moment. Registration must be completed before the 180-day period expires. The amendment now also tightens the scope for delayed registration. According to reports on the notification, registration after the prescribed period will now be permitted only under emergent or exceptional circumstances, significantly narrowing the flexibility available under earlier arrangements. This effectively raises the compliance burden on foreign nationals and encourages proactive registration rather than retrospective regularization. For immigration authorities, this means fewer cases of foreigners remaining in the country for extended periods without completing formal registration requirements. So why this change? Well, the government has consistently argued that immigration management is not merely an administrative issue, but also a national security issue. When Parliament debated the immigration and foreigners legislation last year, the Home Ministry emphasized the importance of knowing who is entering India, how long they are staying, where they are located, and the purpose of their visit. The objective, according to the government, is to build a more modern and accountable immigration system capable of tracking foreign nationals efficiently. The latest amendment appears to fit squarely within that broader policy approach. By ensuring that long-term foreign visitors register earlier, authorities gain access to updated information well before the 6-month mark. This allows for better record keeping, verification, and emergency response capabilities if required. To understand the significance of today's notification, it is important to see it in the context of the larger overhaul that took place in 2025. The Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025 consolidated 4 separate laws that had governed immigration and foreign nationals for decades. The Passport Entry into India Act 1920, the Registration of Foreigners Act 1939, the Foreigners Act 1946, the Immigration Carriers Liability Act 2000. The government argued that these laws were fragmented and outdated, and that a unified legal framework was necessary for modern border management and immigration administration. The Immigration and Foreigners Rule 2025 were subsequently notified to operationalize the new law. The amendment is particularly relevant for foreign professionals working in India, researchers and academics, long-term business visitors, family members of expatriates, and other visa holders whose stay exceeds 180 days. For these categories, the key takeaway is simple. Registration planning must now begin well before the 6-month deadline. Supporters of the move argue that it is a logical step in a world where immigration management increasingly relies on real-time data and digital tracking systems. India has also been investing in the Immigration, Visa, Foreigners, Registration and Tracking System, or IVRFRT, which aims to make immigration processing faster, safer, and more efficient. The Cabinet recently extended the program for another 5 years. The challenge for authorities will now be balancing national security objectives with India's ambition to remain an attractive destination for students, investors, researchers, and skilled professionals. So what is the bottom line? Well, the centre's latest notification does not fundamentally alter who can come to India or who can stay. Instead, it changes when and how foreign nationals staying beyond 180 days must register. Registration must now be completed before the 6-month period expires, while delayed registration will be allowed only in exceptional circumstances. Taken together with the Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025, the amendment reflects the government's continuing effort to create a more centralized, technology-driven and security-focused immigration regime, one that places a premium on early compliance, accurate data and closer monitoring of long-term foreign stays in India. That is the larger story behind the government's latest immigration notification and why it matters beyond the fine print of the rules. Major General G.T. Dwivedi, defense expert, is with us live on the broadcast. Major General Dwivedi, how stringent and important and timely are these rules and framework?
Uday, firstly, thanks for having me on your show. Well, you have given a very detailed backdrop of this new Immigration Foreign Act 2025 and why it has been implemented, why it has been refined, revised. I think I'll pick up on two, three important issues. Firstly, as we are in the digitized age, as we are tracking, and also, the foreigners, visitors are important. It's very, I think, timely that this whole process have been modernized, revised, keeping in view the requirement of the current day time. Second point is, Uday, that today's security is become very paramount, and security today is not only the security of the borders, but very important, the internal security. And we have had cases where the foreigners have overstayed and they have indulged in certain malified activities. So this amendment now clearly defines that in case you have to stay more than 180 days, then you have to take preemptive or proactive actions and apply for that extended stay, not otherwise erstwhile where it could be done after the expiry of 180 days. And in this, I think a couple of issues would also figure out, because you have to ensure that only the rightful people come in and there's no inconvenience to the legitimate visitors or the business corporate people or the student. At the same time, you are able to filter out certain unwanted or elements which could be injurious to your security of the nation. The last point I wish to bring out is that tracking the visitors, tracking the foreigners is very important, because it also alleviate or it also obviate the certain immigration, certain people who would overstay, and also certain people. This also takes care of the illegal immigration. So all in all, Uday, I think this amendment and this revision act is timely. It will ensure that rightful people come and they have legitimate requirement, they stay on. In case they want to overstay, then they have to take proactive measures. At the same time, it's like balancing economy with the security, so that you are able to track people, have a very legitimized way of ensuring that rightful people have no inconvenience. At the same time, there are some people who may not be who may be quite injurious, or they may not be they may be unwanted, then they can be filtered out. Uday.
All right. And also, the fact is this something that, is the need of the hour, given how we've seen how porous our borders are, given how we've seen that how, there has been illegal immigration continuing unchecked? Is this overhaul of the policy extremely timely and linked with what we've seen happen at the border and in various states as well, Major General Dwivedi?
Absolutely, Uday, because as I said, the security today is not only the security of the borders, but also there are a lot to do with these cyber crime, there's a lot to do with the unwanted elements who may be operating under the GAP. And we have had cases where the foreigners have indulged in certain activities which are injurious and hostile to our national interest. So I think it fits into the overall spectrum of augmenting the national security, and in that spectrum, these laws revision are very timely, and the measures they have them imposed are also, I won't call them stringent, but I think they are fair measures, because in case you want to stay, then you have to plan it well in advance. You can't have a post-dated type of activities or post-dated type of provision. So I think it fits into overall security paradigm, and very important to keep a check on who is coming, who is not, who's going out, and also at the same time making it more convenient, because after digitized way of operating or digitized procedures are far more friendly to the foreigners and also to those who are legally immigrating, because otherwise it cuts down on a lot of procedural and paperwork, and more than that, this law actually is a replacement of old colonial laws which are fragmented, and this puts the whole, I would say, issue in a better spectrum, more efficient, more friendly to the foreigners. At the same time, it takes care of the national security and also able to track the visitors who may be quite legitimate and some odd people who may be illegal or illegitimate. Uday.
All right, Major Dwivedi, thank you for joining us with your perspective on this segment.